Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Fabrizio Romano has spoken. More information on all of what we've been talking about all last week regarding Manchester United's midfielder hunt. A twist in the summer saga that was expected to happen. I'll give you all the information in this show as well. We've got big updates coming from the man himself, talking last night openly on his YouTube channel about what is going to happen and what is dependent on Manchester United this season and what happens in the summer. Updates on Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford this morning, and a little bit of a look ahead to the massive game tonight. Is it going to be 5 in a row for Manchester United? Can Michael Carrick once again sit everybody down who is down to him and waiting for that fall? We'll see later on. We'll have all of that covered as well, everybody. So let's get into all of the top stories and let's get into everything this morning and build our way up to that watch along later. Don't forget, we are live later on this evening with the Manchester United game at West Ham. We have also got our prediction league running alongside that as well. We were a little bit late, so you're playing catch up on the prediction league, but they are in now, everybody. If you want to get involved in the competition and be in for a chance of winning in 3 different ways, of course, get in there right now. Your options for the game are there on the screen right now, everybody. You have got 6 options to choose from, a simple yes or no on each one. If you pick 2 of these predictions, you will be entered onto our leaderboard with a chance of not only winning one of the jerseys that are on offer, courtesy of our matchday sponsor, OK Jerseys, as you can see bottom left-hand corner of your screen there. You're also entered into the 25 grand winning draw for February. And of course, if you wager yourself up on this game, you can win on the game directly as well. You can play for free, of course. It is a sweepstakes format game. You can play along for free and get yourself on that leaderboard. All the information will be given to you as soon as you make your picks. You have to just go yes or no on Ahmad to score a goal or get an assist. Kobbie Mainoo will have 2 or more fouls. Manchester United will score under 2 goals in the game. Manchester United will lead at half-time. There will be over 4 cards in the match. There will be under 10 corners in the match. Very, very interesting. Last week, we had over 63 people playing along in the game at Old Trafford for the Spurs game. I want as many as I possibly can for tonight. I'm going to be playing along with you live tonight in the watch along as well, everyone. Get involved in that now. The link is in the description at the top and in the live chat right up there as well, pinned in there. More on that later. We'll get into all of that and what I'm going to pick, and I'll go through my picks with you later on in this live stream. But let's get into the news. That's why you're here this morning. You want to know what is going on. Why is Carlos Baleba front and centre of my thumbnail this morning? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Fabrizio Romano has been speaking on his own channel and talking about what is happening in Manchester United's summer. Now, listen to this. I'm going to play the clip from Romano. I'm going to play you exactly what he said on his channel last night regarding both Tonali and the other midfield targets for Manchester United. It's been brought about because of Tonali, and here is what Fabrizio has said.
On the end of March, April, there will be conversations between Sandro Tonali's camp and Newcastle about the future. Let's see how Newcastle will react, but there is a possibility Sandro Tonali considers a new chapter for his career in summer 2026. There is interest from Italy. Juventus dream of Sandro Tonali, but this could be very expensive, so complicated. And then Premier League clubs. Arsenal interest, for sure. Manchester United. Many of you asking me about these links between Sandro Tonali and Manchester United. There is an appreciation for Sandro Tonali by Man United, but he's not the only midfielder in the list. What I'm hearing is that Man United have several names, and in order to decide who's going to be the player they want to sign, and it could be 2 midfielders in the summer, because Casemiro is going, Ugarte, let's see what happens, and more. In that case, Manchester United wait to see, first, if they will play Champions League football or not, and second, who's going to be the manager. So before Man United decide, okay, this is the midfielder we want, we have to wait. With Amorim, the name was Carlos Baleba. That was the top target. Now Amorim is gone, and so let's see what happens with Carrick or with any other manager in Manchester United decide to appoint in the summer, and then what they decide to do.
Firstly, on the Carlos Baleba situation there, you would have heard Romano mention Carlos Baleba's name. He was a top target for Manchester United. Romano went big on it in the summer. He continued into the start of this season talking about Baleba. He's always been there. He's always been there. I have used that in my shows previously and said, I just see Carlos Baleba being a dead cert. But this is the first time I've heard Fabrizio Romano actually come out and doubt a possible or potential move from Manchester United for Carlos Baleba. He clearly says there in his podcast, in his video, that Manchester United's top target under Amorim was Carlos Baleba. Now things might change. And like I said, it's not massive to say that it's a definite yes or no, because Romano also said that Manchester United haven't made it clear who their top targets are yet. And that has pretty much been reiterated by several other journalists as well. Quite clearly, Manchester United have a list. Nobody knows who's at the top of it yet. But the name of Carlos Baleba, from most reports now, is dropping down that list of priorities for Manchester United. It was an Amorim type of midfielder target for United. That's who they wanted to go for under him. That's who he wanted. And obviously Manchester United were willing to back that because of the age of the player, the profile, the longevity of Carlos Baleba. He was playing well going into the back of last season. United seem to have dodged a bullet here with Carlos Baleba and the situation that they would have had to deal with Brighton in the summer. Do Manchester United want to go into a summer transfer window and battle it out with Brighton and get taken to the cleaners by how they operate and how much they want for him? I don't think they do, going off how Carlos Baleba has performed this season. If the price comes down, I'm taking Carlos Baleba all day long. I would like that type of player in there. And I do think that there is a player in Carlos Baleba, despite his form. But it's the price which is going to determine what happens with Carlos Baleba now. Because on top of that, when asked about Tonali, Romano says there, many Man United fans have been asking me the question, Tonali, what's happening there? His situation, I'll bring that up in a minute on what Romano said, but he also made it very, very clear, Romano, in that piece, and you heard it then, Manchester United's targets this summer will all be determined of whether or not Manchester United get Champions League. Now that is, again, the first time I've heard Romano come out and say it is dependent on Champions League. He's always said United are going big. They're going big. He may have hinted at Champions League football and where they finished this season going into different videos that he said, but he's never gone in that much on Manchester United's need for Champions League. We have been talking about it, and we obviously see the situation. We see the same reports from The Athletic, which state that Manchester United's summer spend is fully dependent on what happens and where United finish this season. If we get Champions League, it's well over 200 million spent. If we don't, we're suffering. We've got 55 million available on the revolving credit facility, which isn't going to get us anywhere near any of these names that we're talking about right now. Carlos Baleba was there and is now in doubts because of Amorim leaving. And now Romano has come back and backed up what others have said, namely The Athletic, in that United's summer spend is fully dependent on the Champions League position and if we get it at the end of this season. He also added in there as well that it's the Champions League and the head coach situation. This is what I think now starting to be very, very clear. There's been a change. There has clearly been a change. And what I read from this is Romano saying what he's saying, the names that are starting to come out in reports like Tonali and other names. I think it's, for me, a deal off for Carlos Baleba. United are not willing to push the boat out for Carlos Baleba anymore. That's how I take it. I mean, you've listened to what Romano said there. You take from it what you feel and get yourselves in that comment section and let me know what you think. But the three key parts of what Romano said there, just to break them down again, and what he's made very, very clear on the midfield hunt for Manchester United is that it's dependent on where United finish and if we're in the Champions League. It's dependent on the head coach and how they go about that. And of course, it's on Manchester United now not being clear on their targets because Ruben Amorim is no longer at the football club. They're the three key parts I took from what Romano said there. And I do think that it is kind of weird because we have heard Ineos talk about them wanting to make the decisions on certain players. They're the ones that are going to make the calls on transfers. And Romano's saying there it's dependent on the head coach, and that situation kind of contradicts what we've been hearing before about Ineos wanting to be in sole charge, and they're the ones that want to run the club, bring the players in, so on and so forth. So it kind of is a strange one at the same time with what Romano said there, because Ineos, as we know, in the talks from different sources, The Athletic being one, and Mitten as well on this, and a few other journalists in and around Manchester United, it's how Manchester United want to operate, how they want to run the football club, and the manager or the head coach, whatever you want to call him, isn't going to have as much of a say. We've talked about big managers having to work alongside Ineos and fit in with what they want to do. And then Romano comes out and says it's dependent on the Champions League and it's dependent on who the manager is, who the head coach is at Manchester United. That doesn't link up well. And that's kind of a strange one. But one thing is for certain right now, regarding Carlos Baleba, it is quite clear that he has moved down that pecking order. And Manchester United, I feel, and I think there is a part of this financially that's been driven as well. The situation, obviously, with Carlos Baleba is he was a top target for Ruben Amorim. Manchester United would go all out for him. They knew they'd have a fight with Brighton financially. They've seen Carlos Baleba's form, maybe looked at it as an opportunity to maybe play it down a bit and then go into the summer and let Carlos Baleba do all of the talking, pick up, hand in a transfer request maybe, go down that road, and United get him a lot cheaper than what they were being quoted last summer. The way it's going at the moment, Manchester United could be looking at potentially 30 to 40 million pound less than what was quoted come the summer if they go for Carlos Baleba. But I think it is clear here that the finances have started to take over, and all of this talk of the big players, the big name players, is clear from every single journalist now. It's dependent on the Champions League. So if the Champions League is where Manchester United are at, have they tried to pull the wool over everybody's eyes by saying that they're going to go big in the summer? The only way that Manchester United go big in the summer is if they sell Bruno Fernandes. And that's a scenario now under Michael Carrick again, which is why I think Romano has gone in on the head coach situation and said that it is dependent on that. Because if Carrick's there, he is going to convince players, whether Ineos want to sell them or not, he is obviously going to say to Ineos, look, I want to keep this player. I have got into the Champions League with this player and he works for me. I don't want to let him go yet. So maybe that's what Romano is alluding to when it comes to dependent on the coach. Because if Carrick's still there, I did a video last night, and if you haven't seen it, I explained that Mark Ogden of ESPN has been talking and saying it's more likely that Carrick actually stays as the head coach and gets it permanently, because you've got these other big names that have to be in place and sorted, he says, before the World Cup starts, and that's problematic. And obviously them big names have got to fit in with this model that Ineos want to run regarding the football side of things at Manchester United. So that video was on that, and if Carrick is in play and still there as the head coach come the start of the season, he's loving Dalot at the moment, he's loving Maguire at the moment, Bruno Fernandes obviously as well. We're talking about Luke Shaw playing 25 straight games. These are all players on our list 2 months ago that we were talking about on this channel that were needed to be moved out by Man United. Until we remove the old guard, nothing is ever going to change. Now Michael Carrick has got 4 wins in a row and 4 very good wins in a row. It's all changed. The whole narrative, the whole look on Manchester United is completely different now. And this is where I think Romano is going with this. And funny how I brought that video up last night. I had no idea what Romano was saying. I was at training last night, so I had no idea at all. But it kind of links in together in a way that players now that we're seeing as transfer exits or transfer incomings for Manchester United has changed. Because Michael Carrick plays a different formation, so automatically that changes how many players you need in a certain position, i.e. centre-back, you need 2 now. Whereas with Ruben Amorim, you needed 3. So having 6 centre-backs at your club is probably more than enough, and we don't need to go out and buy another one. That leads you into the Maguire situation. When you look at the full-backs right now, you would normally class Dorgu as a full-back. But if United go out and buy another left-back, for instance, you've got Luke Shaw who plays left-back, you'll have this new left-back that comes in. Then you've got Mazraoui and Dalot, which is why I brought Dalot into the conversation last night, because then you would have 4 full-backs that could cover Manchester United going forward into next season if we've got European football, which we will have. It's just dependent which type of European football. 4 fullbacks, 6 centre-backs. That's no problem at the back there at all. Then you can plough all of your money into the midfield. And if Tonali is a target for 100 million for United, they will be able to afford it. Not saying we should go out and just accept that 100 million is what we pay, but still you can actually buy that. You're looking at a wide forward then. You need another wide forward. Well, now you've brought a fullback in. That releases Dorgu to stay further up the field, who has really shone this season. So that gives you the time, I feel, and the money to then really invest in what's necessary, which is the midfield, which is why the topic of the targets and midfielders within Manchester United's shortlist is being brought up, and how it's changed all of a sudden. It changes because of formation, it changes because of coach, it changes because of opinion of that coach on certain players already at Manchester United. Everything has changed because Amorim was sacked, Carrick's in doing well, and Manchester United are preparing a summer that might involve Michael Carrick. I think this is where we're at. And now everybody's opinion, journalists like Romano, has changed completely because of this form of Manchester United and Champions League coming in. And I think that's what we're looking at. Don't get me wrong. I still would like a wide attacking player to come in. I want as much depth as possible. I want 3 midfielders. But if you think there, Manchester United could buy 3 midfielders, could buy a left back, there's 4 players. You could go out and get another wide attacking player if you wanted for the left-hand side to compete with Cunha and Dorgu. Obviously, we've got 2 players there that we can interchange and mix around. We've obviously got Shea Lacey coming in to the fold as well from the academy, so you could add that to the squad. And then you need another striker, I think. Yes, Mbeumo can play there, and that is an option, but I would like another number 9. 6 players. And then you've got pretty much 2 players for nearly every single position on the pitch, because you'll keep Mainu and you'll get rid of Agate with 3 midfielders coming in. That gives you 4 central midfielders to play with, giving you a chance to maybe integrate youth because you've got a better run first team, and you could bring them players through to the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup maybe, the odd game where they come off the bench when you really need to rest a player. And of course, you're going to have injuries as well on top of that throughout a long season. So I think that this is where the Romano story is developing from. And Carlos Baleba, front and centre of it. I just don't think now, going off this, and this is the first time that I have said anything against Carlos Baleba coming in, because I've always, and you would have seen, thought that United would just go for Baleba because he's an easy target. But with Romano having doubts now, and Romano was always the one pushing this, Baleba is a top target. United will buy another player. They will revisit it. He kept on saying it. And now, for the first time, there's a tiny little bit of doubt on Carlos Baleba coming from Romano's side because United have changed their plan. There is a clear change here, and I think everybody's noticing it, and that's why Tonali's name has now started to surface and come in all the talk around Manchester United's midfielder shortlist. Boom, what an opening to the show that was. Anyway, let's get into the comment section. Give me your thoughts on this, please, everybody. We've got plenty of chats coming in as well. I want to get through a few supers first of all. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, everyone who is in the room with us right now. Let's get into it. Let's get your opinions on this. What is your take on that? I'm opening it up to everyone. You've heard my opinion. That's the way I see it. What are you saying no? And with the first super chat of the day has come in and said, Fabrizio, master of saying bloody nothing, Romano. I get what you're saying by that. He sort of leads us in and then takes us out the back door without us even noticing, doesn't he? It's like he bigged it up all the way through last summer into this season and it's gone. It's like, I've been listening to you for about 5 months, mate, and telling us this and that. Look, he normally gets it right. And being out of transfer season, i.e. the window being shut, I think Romano can get away with a few of these videos now and then start to build himself up again and sort of say, I've been given this information and that information, but I get what you mean by it, mate. Lee Cape Town says, hi Adam, Baleba was not an Amorim target. It's a Wilcox target, to be clear and honest. The same like Liam Delap. No, my friend, I'm not being fooled. I think he was an Amorim target, mate. I do. I think Amorim was right behind this. And so was Jason Wilcox. And don't forget on this, Lee, this is when Manchester United were fully cohesive and working as a unit. Amorim, Wilcox, everything was going well. It was the start of a fresh season. I think we need to take that and use that as well in this here, because there was a clear path. United needed a midfielder. They clearly needed a midfielder because he wanted to play Bruno Fernandes there. And he needed legs around him, which he didn't have, which is why we were going for Baleba. So Amorim was on board with this. And he was a top target under Amorim, like what Romano says. Wilcox would have vetoed it 100%, Lee. You're dead right, buddy, because of the age and the profile of the player. It's just that United weren't willing to pay what Brighton wanted. So that, I think, is going to be, I think that's going to be the explanation come the end of the day, Lee, I think. Wayne has just renewed his membership. Thank you. Wilson free. Senesi free, Hackney 16 million and Tonali 50 million. Oof, dreamland there, mate. There's no chance that you'll get Hackney for 16 or Tonali for 50. Middlesbrough are going to get promoted and Newcastle are never going to sell to a rival unless they break the bank, mate. So, no, I like your thinking, mate, and I wish myself that was the case, but I just don't see it happening. That would be great business, he says. I have stated above. Yeah, I got you, mate. It would be amazing business. I just don't ever see that happening, bud. James in with the super chats. Can we all wish Stu, aka Cunya's dancing twin, a very happy birthday? 21 today, allegedly. Stu, happy birthday, mate. I was going to get through that right at the back end of the show there, but you are that well liked within the community, mates, that people are super chatting your birthday out, my man. Hopefully the Reds give you the perfect birthday present tonight, Stu. Long time mod and member of the channel. Happy birthday, my man. Have a fantastic day, matey. Another super chat in from Anne at the back end also says, I think we struggle, I'm afraid. No settled manager, a World Cup in the way. I see the season starting without signings sorted. Sadly, hope I'm wrong. No, I think you will be, Anne, honestly. I do think that Man United will get business done as quickly as they possibly can this summer. I think this is why everybody's talking about Manchester United having a manager shortlist. In the video last night, I was actually talking about what Mark Ogden said and how Manchester United need to now have their manager in mind. They need to get to work now, because the closer it gets to the World Cup, the less chance you've got of these managers, wanting to sit down and talk with Manchester United. Say, for instance, what I mean by that is that we've got one more international break next month, and then that's it then all the way up until the end of the season. The end of March, after the internationals are over, going into April, United need to have all of these talks with these managers. They need to know where they're going. By April, we'll have a good idea where Man United are in the league, and that will bring, obviously, Michael Carrick into the situation as well. So I think what Mark Ogden is alluding to there is that Manchester United will have to have an idea of who they want come April, definitely May. And if they want to talk to their managers, it's probably the right time to go then and discuss it potentially. Well, there's no focus on the World Cup, because as soon as that season finishes, you've got no chance, because all the players go off on internationals, and the managers in them international positions and then managers are doing them jobs for their countries actually then want everyone organised and in place. While the season's going on, obviously the focus is on the Premier League, and preparation for the World Cup isn't really being spoken about. So international break next month is the last one. After that, I think we start to find out about who the real movers and shakers are within Manchester United's idea of the next manager, head coach. So I think it's going to be a big month next month. I reckon March, April, we'll know kind of what's happening at United. So many different ways, actually, because if Carrick carries on winning, I think he just goes to the top of that list. I do. The more and more he performs. And again, I kind of feel like we are in a position with Carrick now where we're expecting a bit of a fall, we're expecting a bit of a blip, but if he keeps on winning and keeps on winning, he's just going to keep on pushing other managers away and convincing United, because the closer United get to Champions League security with games to spare, the more Carrick looks like the best option for Man United. They're not going to announce this in season. I'm pretty certain they won't do what they did with Ole. I think that is a definite. I think what's going to happen is, as soon as the season finishes, I reckon in May, by the time the World Cup starts, I think Manchester United want to announce it between the end of May and the start of June. And I think that's when we're going to find out. That's my opinion alone, obviously, on that one. But I think that's where it's all leading anyway. Let's get a few more comments in on this before we move to the next story. Why do midfielders cost more than attacking players nowadays? It used to be that strikers and wingers were the most expensive signings. It's true. But on that, you've got to look at the age of the midfielders. You're buying players that are in their early 20s that are going to be at the club for potentially 10 years. That's the difference, I think. This summer alone, I don't think it's always the same. And I think if this was the case and all the strikers on the market were all young players, which there isn't many of right now. There aren't many strikers the same age as some of these midfielders that are going around. I mean, you look at Wharton, Baleba and Anderson, for instance, them three, they're all under the age of 23. So that, I think, is why the price is so high on them players as well. Vivel will want Stella and Diamande. Carrick will want Anderson and Wharton and Kane. And Kane, oh, okay, you throw Kane in the end there, Pete. Look, I don't think Michael Carrick is too concerned about the calibre of player being brought in by Manchester United. I think Carrick's big say on this is who stays at Manchester United. You give him more, and he will have a say on it. And like he said before, there are discussions, and I've had discussions, and this was in January. So if he gets the job, he will be involved in this. And he will give the profile of midfielder that he actually wants. And he will have a voice in it. And Manchester United fans are looking at these players here. Look, we're debating whether we like a certain player over another at the moment in this midfield list or current list of players we're looking at. I don't think any of them are worse than what we've got. I think they're all better than what we've got. And I think that's going to be the big thing come the summer. United are going to bolster that midfield. It is going to be a better midfield come next season because the players are all better than what we've got right now. And that, I think, is the big thing in this. I think that's what Man United are also looking at. It's all about, especially if you're looking at the likes of Stiller and players abroad, recruitment, scouting, and making sure that that player is going to have what it takes to actually get this deal. And Tonali one from Romano, by the way, was that he is definitely going to speak to Newcastle at the end of the season about his future. Romano didn't say this, by the way, but the other stories were he wants European football. He wants Champions League, and that's it. He is happy to go back to Italy, but I don't know if there's anybody in Italy that can afford him. That's the difference with the Italy link as well. If you think about it, who in Italy is going to spend upwards of 80 million, which I think is going to be the actual price? I don't think there's any out there that are going to do it. So I think that's the Italian side of it cut off for Tonali also. In terms of the other transfer targets there, Wharton, obviously we've heard about the noises from Liverpool. I think that changes if they don't make Champions League. And again, that leads into what Romano said, going off United's Champions League position. If United take one Champions League spot, there's a chance that Liverpool miss out. And that's the importance of United finishing in there. Because that could give United the edge over getting Adam Wharton. In terms of Elliot Anderson, there was news going around yesterday about Elliot Anderson now following Manchester City. Apart from Nottingham Forest and I think Newcastle, his boyhood club, they're the only teams that he follows. There are big links and bigger links starting to develop now with Anderson and City. We knew this before, but again, we were all dependent on Man United not being in the Champions League. United are in it and then can make a move on Anderson still. But the noises at the moment, just so you're aware, there's a lot of talk about Anderson already being set for City. And that being a deal that's pretty much already in the pipeline. So regarding all of the midfield options there, you're up to date on all of them four. I have had a poll running throughout the show as well. If you had to spend big on one midfielder in particular, who would it be? Baleba and Wharton are bottom of this list. Carlos Baleba 6%, Adam Wharton 9%. Then it's Tonali at 32% and Elliot Anderson leading the way at 53%. Everybody's still got Elliot Anderson right at the top of their list in terms of best midfielders that they would go for that are available right now. So Anderson in there at 53%, I think tells you everything. Baleba at 6%, that speaks loudly. That is definitely delivering a message there from the Man United fans or the near 1,000 people that have voted in our live poll this morning. But get involved in that as well if you're in the chats, everyone. Who would you take? Who would you spend the biggest amount of money on? Baleba, Anderson, Wharton or Tonali? Which one would you go for if them options were there for United this summer, of course? Anyway, moving forward, another midfielder we currently already have in our ranks is Mr. Bruno Fernandes. Yes, indeed. And there are stories. Listen to this one. And this has come from Top Skills Sport UK. And look, it's no one major and it's no one actually significant talking about this that I know of. But you can guess this scenario is coming around because, again, what Romano said is linked to this story, I feel, anyway. And give me your opinions on this as well. But this is how I see it. Bruno Fernandes' contract renewal at Manchester United now depends entirely on Michael Carrick's stance. If the manager commits to staying for the upcoming season, Fernandes is ready to sign a new long-term deal. Sign a new deal, not just stay, but sign a new deal. If Carrick leaves, Fernandes would demand 400 grand per week to renew or walk away as a free agent, with Bayern Munich showing strong interest in signing him, currently under contract until 2027 with 1 year option. His future hinges on Carrick's decision. I don't fully believe that. I don't. But it's interesting how that story's there. And we've got what Romano is saying. It depends on the head coach regarding who United's midfielders are. Because you could see Kobbie Mainoo moving into a 10. You could see Mason Mount being there. They're not Bruno Fernandes. They're never going to be able to play like Bruno Fernandes. But if Bruno stays, again, that gives Man United all of the power to go in and spend massive on the midfielders that we need. And Bruno Fernandes, look, we've had the debate before. I do believe that Bruno Fernandes, if we get Champions League football, will stay at Man United. The only way Bruno leaves, I feel, is if we don't get Champions League football. Now, that story is a bit of a long shot. So I don't see that happening. He's not going to ask Man United for 400 grand a week to stay if Michael Carrick's not there. Bruno Fernandes at this stage of his career, I mean, come on. He can get that money anywhere he wants. So why would he stay? If he's willing to stay for Michael Carrick, why would he stay for 400 grand a week wages? It's 50 grand a week more. It doesn't make much of a difference. So I think that side of the story is baloney, complete baloney. But again, it kind of makes you think that this scenario is starting to develop within Manchester United now. Again, alluding back to the video that I did last night about the likes of Shaw, Maguire, Dalot, Bruno, and obviously them bringing Tonali in on that as well. I feel like there is something developing within Manchester United where if Carrick stays, we could see Manchester United's stance on certain other players at the club also change. We did the story last night on Wilcox looking whether to cash in on Dalot or not with Real Madrid's interest. Trent Alexander-Arnold coming back from Madrid to the Premier League. And obviously then Dalot going to Madrid. And whether United should cash in on him. A lot of people would say just cash in. And the point I was making earlier on in this video was that if you've got Dalot and Mazraoui for right back, you've got Shaw and a new left back for left back. Dalot and Mazraoui can also play left back as well. You've got plenty of cover there at full back for Manchester United. I'm happy with that going forward, as long as you get a good left back. I mean, I would take Mazraoui over Dalot at right back all day long anyway. And Mazraoui's still young enough to go on a few years yet at United. So Dalot as a backup is probably my argument here. Would you sell Dalot for 25 million, which is about the market value and what's being muted out there at the moment? Or would you keep him as a backup fullback and United don't need to go out and find another one? Because we probably would have to find another one if we sold Dalot. Would you keep him there along with the squad that we're going to need going into multiple games, nearly 60 games next season if we get Champions League football? That was the debate. I'm not going to say anything else. You tell me. Get into the live chat and speak to me on what you think is the right call there and where Manchester United should go with that one. But Bruno's definitely going to be a hot topic this summer, whichever way you look at it. Leaving, staying, Carrick, Man United Champions League. I think if United get Champions League, Carrick stays, you can 100% rubber stamp, bang, Bruno Fernandes stays at Man United. Whether he sees his contract out, like we said, he's got an option to extend past 27. So effectively, after this season, he could have 2 more years anyway. So no rush. No rush. I'd look at it at the end of next season, trigger that contract, and then maybe discuss another one after that if it's going great. But it gives United that option to maybe cash in on Bruno Fernandes. If Bruno Fernandes keeps playing like this, no one's going to have a problem with Bruno Fernandes. I've said this before. Bruno has changed under Carrick. I've seen a different side of Bruno Fernandes. I loved him before because he was that guy that was willing to take risks, and you all know my opinion of Bruno. But I think he's changed under Carrick, and I think he's a better player now. So that is going to rumble on, I think, that debate. And Bruno is definitely going to be hot topic come the summer transfer window. The Marcus Rashford situation, just to update you on that. Another story that I actually picked up on, and it was this morning, actually, regarding Marcus Rashford. So we all know the stance. Barca don't want to pay the money. Manchester United are going to hold firm. PSG are interested if Barca don't pay what United wants, the triggered loan fee and all of that. The Times report on this now is that Marcus Rashford's future hinges on the club's presidential election next month. So in March, there is a presidential election. You don't know, obviously, presidents are voted in for the likes of Madrid, Barcelona, and they are key. And they, to win their elections, obviously run with what they're going to do and the future of the football club. And the 26 million deal, the Times is saying, for the on-loan Manchester United forward is the centrepiece for Joan Laporta's re-election bid. So with Rashford doing well, he wants to be re-elected as the president, and his push for that is to keep Marcus Rashford and pay this money, or do whatever he can to get Marcus Rashford to stay at the football club. He is plus 20 in goal involvements this season, Marcus Rashford for Barcelona. He's having the best season that he's had in years. And it's under Hansi Flick and obviously this this presidential setup at Barcelona. So they want to keep this. If they end up winning La Liga with Marcus Rashford, go far in Champions League, whatever, then obviously the fan base are going to push for this. And with it being so cheap, I think that the fans would actually ask the questions at Barcelona, why are you not going for this at this price? And Man United are always going to stand firm with this, but that's the update from the Barcelona side with Marcus Rashford, just so you're completely clear with what's going on there. That's a story that's being run by the Times at the moment. It's all hinging on the presidential election. I think they just use that sometimes to make a story. I'm aware of that, but I do think that Manchester United and their stance on it is always going to be exactly the same. So there's no real drama in Marcus Rashford. I still think he's going to go. The Barcelona side looks a bit murky-watered and complicated, but ultimately they want to keep him. I think a deal will be done somewhere within what Man United want and what Barca can afford. And I think Rashford will be a permanent move to Barcelona, is my bet. But then again, never say never. There are other clubs that want Rashford and United could get more money. I think Rashford's going to push for Barca and Man United are going to be kind of stuck, but they can still demand money. With Man United not using Rashford at the moment, obviously the only thing that's going to scupper this deal is if United say no to Barcelona, then they've got to start paying Rashford's wages again. And if you're in the Champions League, Marcus Rashford's wages contractually for him go back up to the maximum, which is 300 plus. And then if you're not going to use him, that's a lot of money per week that could be spent elsewhere. So are United going to be forced into moving and buckling under Barcelona's terms because they don't want to pay Rashford's wages? Or is Michael Carrick, if he's the manager, going to bring Rashford back in? I know, it's madness. It's complete madness, isn't it? There's so many different twists and turns for so many Man United players because Carrick's winning games. Everything's changed because Michael Carrick is winning football matches. That's what you've got to, I feel, be honest with yourself and say, it's changed because of. It has to be because all of a sudden, Carrick's in the hat for the manager's job. And every single scenario, and we mentioned it before, we did a story about Michael Carrick wanting to bring Rashford back. It's not the case. It never was. But United can definitely play that card and say, well, do we need another wide attacking player if Marcus Rashford comes back? I don't want him back. I'm going to make that very clear now. But remember what I said earlier on, if United get a fullback and then we push Dorgu up, do we go out for another forward? United's plans and what they're looking at are going to spread around world of football. And Barcelona will know the situation that's developing at Manchester United. They'll know where they're at. Michael Carrick just needs to go like that and say, I can get Rashford back. And then Barcelona, watch how much they twitch then, and let's see if they really do want Marcus Rashford. Because let's be honest, Marcus Rashford still is a United fan. He still loves United. You're never going to take that out of him. And if Michael Carrick gets on the phone to him, because he's now the permanent manager of Man United, then things change very quickly. I don't want it to change. I don't think United should go down that road. I think they should just do a deal and get rid of him. But I'm saying the situation could develop even more and work in United's favour if Carrick's there. Because Carrick has turned around so many of them players that we already said should have been leaving United. The old guard players, you know, them ones. And Marcus Rashford's another one. And if you're looking for a player out wide and you've already got someone who's doing it at the highest level in Marcus Rashford, and you can change him around on the Carrick, then that's definitely a weapon United can use against Barca in getting that full fee and selling him to Barcelona. Anyway, that's my thinking and what I think anyway. Super chat in from Ant says, keep a Ballon d'Or. Look, and you always know this, I'm always very honest. I have my opinions of players. If I'm proved wrong, I will happily take the loss. I will happily accept that I was wrong. And I've done it before. I did it with Mainu earlier on. Was it this weekend? I think it was this weekend. I did it with Mainu. Amorim definitely caused a problem with Mainu, and that's clear now. It's quite clear, because Michael Carrick's come in and embarrassed Ruben Amorim. Completely embarrassed him in how Manchester United are playing right now, and we all know that. And it's not looking good for Ruben in terms of this situation and how things are working now. And look, if Dalot keeps playing the way he's playing, and he gives me consistent performances like he has done under Carrick, the odd one, the first half against City was a worry. It was a big worry. And I said it in the game, and I remember saying it at the game. Get him off the pitch. I've got a tweet out actually saying it, so you can go back and check that if you want and pull that back on me. I will accept that I was wrong about Mainu. Dalot, I need more convincing. More convincing. And look, Mainu's still got to do it consistently. And I'm looking at them 4 games and I'm judging him off them. If I am, then I'm seeing that he has turned the corner and he's willing to fight for his place at Man United, and he's been given a chance and taken it, which is what I thought was going to happen under Ruben, but he was never getting a chance under Ruben, which is why I kind of changed my mind on it. And it's been shown clearly now that he was always willing to put that work in. And them stories from the likes of Sully Talks that we were being given, that he is the model pro when he's working hard behind the scenes and staff cannot understand what's happening with him and Ruben, they were all true. And they do look like they were true. So credit to Sully for that and coming out with that story at the time as well. Dalot I need to see more of because he's been inconsistent for years. Mainu's only been at a couple. So we've seen glimpses of that and the quality that's there. But Dalot's been misperforming and letting us down, let's just say, for years now. 4 games for Dalot, I don't think warrants us saying that he should be staying at Manchester United, but I would take the definite positive from it and say that if he keeps on doing it, then I don't mind Dalot being a squad player at Manchester United. I really don't. Sean in a block with a super chat says, I'm literally just going past the West Ham ground on my train to work. I'm sure that I saw it shaking with fear. 3-1 away win tonight. Come on, the Reds. We'll be doing another video, a warm-up to the game later on as well, everybody. Quickly, again, before I forget, don't forget, if you want to get involved in our prediction game for the West Ham match tonight, there are your options right now on the screen, everybody. The link is in the live chat. It's also the top link in the description. We had over 60 people participate in the game against Spurs at weekend. This time it's going to be different because this time I'm doing a watch along with you, and I'll be keeping an eye on all of these predictions that are up on your screen right now, everybody. So please do get involved. You can play for free on our sweepstake format game here. You have 3 different ways of winning. You can obviously wager yourself up if you want to put a little bit on your predictions and see how you do. Your options are there. Will Ahmad get a goal or assist? Will Kobbie Mainoo have 2 more fouls? Will he commit 2 more fouls in the game? You only have to press yes or no on these. Then your score will pop up at the bottom. If you want to wager yourself up, go for it. You can play for free and the options will be there as you go through, as you select your options. You can pick all 6, which obviously means you get a bigger prize. But all you've got to do is pick yes or no to all of these options, and then you will be on our leaderboard. We've had a few people do it already. We have started to build up a bit of a leaderboard, as you can see. Loads of people coming in. Let's get as many in as we possibly can. I'll have Big Up running live alongside our watch along this evening on YouTube as well. So make sure that you get in there, everybody, and get your predictions in. You could be in with a chance of winning one of the new Man United jerseys, courtesy of OK Jerseys as well. 5 people will be getting one of them and with an option to win one of them if you are on our leaderboard for the game. And you will be entered into the prize draw for 25k for the end of the month draw here on Big Up as well. And that is where I need to get more FUTV members and subscribers in on the game. If you are in on it, it's the better chance we've got of giving that prize away to an FUTV member. That's what I want to do. Other ones on other channels have won them 25 grand so far. We haven't had one yet. I want one before the end of the season. So get involved in it now, everybody, and get in there and give me your predictions before kickoff, please. That's what you've got, and that's how long you've got to get them in. Sorry, Adam, some of these players I ain't trusting until they give me consistent seasons and win me trophies. Mainu, Dalot, Shaw are on my list. So you're just keeping an eye on them, Ray. I get it. I understand that, matey. And that is totally fair. And by the way, everyone, if you're loving the content, please pop a like on the video. We're already well over 200 likes for today's show. So really appreciate that again, everyone. And cheers if you have already given us a like. Get on that subscribe button as well if you want to be up to date with all the Man United news. We will have one more live show later on, probably in and around lunchtime. I'll keep you updated on that, leading into the game this evening. And obviously, we'll be starting our watch-along a bit later on as well this evening. All will be clear on the channel later when we're kicking things off. And the game will run alongside the watch-along later on. So make sure you join us for that as well. But important that you also hit the bell notification button as well, so you're notified when the new streams and videos are coming out, everybody. Just as a little bit of a game at the end of today's show and tomorrow's show, get in there with your predictions right now, everybody. Give me some scores for tonight's game, because I want to know how everyone's feeling. You've woke up, it's match day. You're on the verge of seeing 5 wins in a row. God knows how long it's been. I'll check that out for later on, actually. I should have done that, but that can come later on this evening. But I want to know how everyone's feeling. Cal says in the chat, totally agree. We can't trust these old guard players yet. A long way to go to the sum up. Yet they do need to prove that they can get United in the Champions League. And then I think a lot of United fans will enter the conversation. Some might not even want to give them the time of day still. They've seen enough, even if we get Champions League. Which, again, I think is fair, because we have been dished some absolute shit, haven't we, over the last decade by a lot of these players that are still in this team. I'm happy that they're turning it around right now. But it takes a lot of convincing when you've seen years of crap, doesn't it? So, yeah, let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Lots of confidence in the results I'm seeing. Plenty of United wins. I've seen one draw so far. The rest have been Man United wins, and some hefty ones as well. Like Pete's there at the bottom of the screen. 4-0 United. They need a slapping, West Ham. Man United haven't won at the West Ham Olympic Stadium since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Remember that game Jesse Lingard scored and David De Gea saved the penalty? That's how long it's been, I think, since Man United won at that stadium. We've lost everything. I was thinking, this can't be right, surely. And I'm going through the games and I'm going, holy shit, it's right. We just haven't. Ten Hag never won. Ten Hag didn't win there. He lost twice. In fact, the last time that Ten Hag played there, the last time we lost there was when Ten Hag lost his job last season. That was the game that did it for him. It's a really, really bad ground for Manchester United. A lot of averages say we're due a win. And I think the former Manchester United is going to pay tonight. I think we've got the bit between our teeth. I think there's loads of players that are ready to impress. And we've got too many on good form for us to be losing this game tonight. Look, I wouldn't be surprised with a draw. I would be surprised if United lost the game. I would. I think we've got a steely determination. I would never be surprised if we actually drop points away from home to anyone in this league. Anyone can beat anyone. But I think United definitely don't lose tonight. But my prediction, I'm going with Manchester United 2-0. That's my prediction for tonight. And I think it's going to be Bruno Fernandes penalty. And I think Ahmad gets on the score sheet tonight as well. I think he's due a goal. That's my opinion anyway. So I'll see if that bet works out later on while we're live, eh? Put your money where your mouth is, Adam. Always. Might be there tonight in with home fans. Oh, Ant. That's a dangerous one. I've done that myself before and it's never worked out for me. Anytime I've gone to an away ground and I've gone in just to get in and watch United and sat with the home fans, we've lost the bastard game, honestly. And it's been really bad. Two that spring to mind. I think we lost 4-1 to Man City. I did that. I can't believe I did that. That was bad. And Brentford, when we got battered 4-0. I was at that game. The complete David De Gea meltdown earlier in the season under Ten Hag. I was at that game. Honestly, I felt lost after that one. I really did. There's no way that Ten Hag was surviving after that. And then we went on and beat Liverpool the following week. That's football for you. And that's pretty much is our show this morning, everybody. Absolutely mega numbers. I love that chat this morning. Thank you, everyone. Let's just quickly check our poll before we finish up. We've had over 1,300 votes. I asked the question, and I'm going to ask it again for you all in the comment section when the live finishes. If you had to go big on one midfielder, who would it be? I.e., who would you spend the most money on out of Carlos Baleba, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, or Sandro Tonali? Bottom of the pile is Carlos Baleba with 6%. Then it's Adam Wharton with 9%. Then it's Sandro Tonali with 33%. And Elliot Anderson, 53% of the vote from that poll on who you would spend the most money on if you had to go big on one of them players. Get in the comment section. Let me know. Get your predictions in now on our game. The link is in the live chat. It is the top link on our description as well, everybody. I will see you all later on. Have a fantastic day. Don't be nervous, Reds. United are coming to town and they are going to take the 3 points tonight. I'm sure of it. Thanks for watching, everybody.